Let me simply, first of all, repeat what our focus has been and what it remains. De-escalation, avoiding conflict, and so, yes, calling on all concerned to exercise restraint.
That, of course, is U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaking earlier today, calling once again for the de-escalation of tensions between Israel and Iran. We've heard not only from the United States, but from Canada and other G7 allies, all saying that de-escalation and diplomacy are the only way forward after an apparent Israeli airstrike on Iran. Now, Iranian officials said air defenses intercepted 3 drones, but reported no damage to nuclear sites and at an airbase in Isfahan province. Now, Iran's foreign minister has also told state media that there are no casualties in the city. It's considered a reprisal attack after Iran's weekend airstrikes on Israel. No comment, though, from the Israeli military, which is key in getting further details confirmed on this story. But we need deeper analysis, and we need to get accurate information from Iran and certainly accurate analysis about Iran. And there is no better person to do that with than our next guest. No doubt you know Christiane Amanpour. She is CNN's chief international anchor, and she's the host of Amanpour, and she joins us now from London. Ms. Amanpour, a pleasure to speak with you.
Nice to talk to you too.
Ms. Amanpour, it's been several hours since the news of the initial seeming attack from Israel on Iran broke. It seems like things are calming down, at least for the time being. To the best of your knowledge, what the heck are they thinking in Tehran today?
Well, I think that nobody wants a escalation between the two most powerful entities in that region, which are Israel and Iran. And what happened a month ago, just about maybe 3 weeks ago now, April 1st, when the Israelis took that step of attacking and leveling Iran's consulate in Syria, where there were military officials there, and killing all those military officials, that was an action that A, the United States didn't know about until the last minute, we are told, and B, Israel did not believe and was not anticipating Iran's reaction, which came last weekend with the barrage of several hundred cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, the swarm of drones. So what we have had is a series of terrible miscalculations in an area, in a neighborhood that really can't afford any, because there are actually no guardrails. There's no direct negotiation or avenue of dialogue between Israel and Iran. There's only a tenuous link between Iran and the United States through Switzerland. And so it's very difficult to actually, get these things to not fall over the edge, so to speak. But it does seem that both countries, Israel and Iran, do not want to further escalate. Each one has shown the other what they can do, what they will do. And the hope is that that will be that for this chapter.
Let's talk about the city of Isfahan itself. We're showing images right now of the nuclear facility. We understand, based on the clearest information we're getting so far, that there's been no real damage done to this facility. But talk to us about the city itself. Why is it so significant?
Well, the city of Isfahan is an ancient capital of Iran. It's a very, very important big city. It's a tourism city. It's a cultural city inside. But obviously also there's the Natanz nuclear power plant. I have visited it during reporting trips there, as have other journalists. And in the past, Israel has actually covertly sabotaged the centrifuges at Natanz. And over the years, Israel's conducted quite a lot of covert action against nuclear facilities and nuclear scientists. The most spectacular was a few years ago when they basically blew up the main, most significant Iranian nuclear scientist. So Israel's been doing this for a long time. Now, it's important to say that as you know, Israel hasn't commented on this latest, but the Iranians say, and apparently the IAEA, which has eyes on these nuclear facilities, the UN agency, says that it wasn't a target. And Iran says that it was not damaged. Iran, as you know, has immediately played down what happened. They are not calling it a strike. At best, they're calling it an infiltration. And they say the explosions that were heard were, in fact, their own anti-air missile defenses or anti-missile defenses. So they are trying to, not add fuel to the fire, so to speak, by saying, no, nothing happened, so we don't need to respond. And that's the saving face mechanism. But also, Israel did not do a full-scale attack on Iran. So as I say, Isfahan, very symbolic. There is a air base there, and as you know, as I just said, the nuclear facility at Natanz. But that was not struck. That would have been a big escalation, and you can't do that with just a couple of small attacks. It would take a major attack to do any damage to Natanz beyond internal sabotage.
The one thing, Ms. Amanpour, that I really have not heard being discussed today is how ordinary Iranians are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
This Isfahan, as you mentioned, this incredible, ancient, beautiful Persian city. And throughout Iran, the people in that country are at conflict, not only with whatever might be happening internationally, but with their own regime that's in power. What are they making, to the best of your knowledge, of what's taking place right now?
Well, the Iranian state media, i.e. the government, was very, very quick to put out pictures of Isfahan and other parts of the country looking calm, people walking around, the bazaars, the outside squares. And they didn't want to show a nation in panic. They wanted to send the message that all is normal, there is no problem. For a while, airports and airspace was closed. That rapidly opened with the daylight when that came. And so they're trying to project a sense of normality. As for the people, they obviously, the last thing they want, and of course I've been in touch with several, is a war, a war with any other foreign country. They exist in a very, very sanction-ridden country. They have a huge amount of hardship, mostly in the physical sense. It is economic, really difficult for people to get by in their everyday lives. And then politically, they have real problems with freedom, as you saw during the protests against the killing, the death of Mahsa Amini for not apparently wearing her hijab properly, apparently killed in custody of the morality police. So those are the internal tensions, and that is separate, frankly, to what Israel and Iran are doing, or whatever kind of external conflicts that Iran might have or that are imposed on it. And I think that, sometimes people in the West, certainly the Iranian diaspora, certainly those who would like to see the Ayatollah's regime fall, they believe that they can, maybe conduct a few strikes and the people will rise up against the regime, or keep sanctioning Iran and people will rise up against the regime, or hope that these protests that we saw in 2022 and beyond would cause a collapse of the regime. So far, none of that has happened. And the people are left in a very, very difficult position, just trying to get through daily life.
You're absolutely right about the challenges for ordinary Iranians on the ground, and nobody in the world needs further escalation of these tensions between Israel and Iran. But if, for the sake of argument, the tensions continue and this tit for tat, maybe these planned strikes, maybe drones that take hours to reach Israeli territory, or 3 drones that don't actually do any damage from the Israeli side, if this sort of back and forth continues, it's a dangerous game that's being played. And I wonder, are there concerns that one of these states might take it a step too far, and then we're really in trouble?
That obviously was the worry at the beginning, the idea of a wider war, certainly since the slaughter of Israelis by Hamas on October 7th. The first thing that the United States did, if you remember, was to send a battle group, military show of force to say, we will not, first of all, we'll defend Israel, and secondly, we will not tolerate a wider war. And so be warned that we are there. And in fact, many of the Iranian missiles that were thrown at Israel last week were intercepted by U.S. seaborne and other anti-missile defense systems. But the Iranians, according to Reuters, an Iranian official basically said, again, portraying it as if nothing much had happened, that we have no plans to retaliate at this point. So I think the international community, which is calling for restraint. As you know, leaders are meeting at the G7 in Italy. So your leaders, the Western and major economic powers are meeting there and are trying to come up with ways to keep pressuring all sides to just keep it calm and this chapter to be ended. But I will say that, you know, the war against Gaza is inflaming these already tense relationships in that part of the world. And so that is another thing that whether it's Canada, the United States, Britain, the rest of Europe, trying to figure out a way to come to first of all, end this war and try to find a solution for the day after and an actual political solution that would end the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. That's a major, major issue.
And one that we'll continue to watch. Christiane Amanpour, CNN's chief international anchor and host of Amanpour, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you.